you have your own family that you have to worry about. And what do you have to gain by speaking out on something that there is, like, he hasn't been proved guilty in the court of law.
And the team has all that invested in him, and you're just a player.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if you are extremely passionate about it, like, other than people writing some articles about you or applying, yeah, thanks for standing up for, like, but I don't know what that does internally for you.
Well,
it creates more trouble for you internally. I'm not saying externally.
But the problem, you're right, Jay. But the problem with that is he was not criminally charged.
Yes, that's what I said. Yeah.
So when you're
let alone convicted, not charged.
Yes,
yeah.
When you are charged and then convicted of something like this that's this egregious, and you're in a locker room, people now, you are contagious. People don't want to deal with you.
Radioactive.
Yeah, it's like, get this dude away from us. The fact that hasn't taken place, it's like, I'm minding my own business. It's not my business at this point in time. That's just the way the locker room is. We are worried about one thing, and that's winning football games. Okay, and if Deshaun Watson can help us win football games, then we're okay with that. I think when you look at it, and like Jay is saying, what good do you have stepping into somebody else's mess? There's no good that comes from it because he hasn't been charged. Mm-hmm. So you saying something to alienate your teammate wouldn't look good inside of the building. Had he been charged,
yeah, different story.
Everybody, gloves are off at this point.
Listen, the reason there's never been a quarterback this good in the middle of his prime who switched teams. The reason he was even available is because all this all these civil cases came out, right? Now he's available in a trade because he's been discounted somehow. Mm-hmm. And so any team that is then, and there were more than one, willing to bring him in and pay him all that money, are clearly making winning football games the priority, right? That's just the reality.
They're making football decisions, not life decisions. And, when you look back at it, if he's ever brought up on charges again or whatever the case may be, they will look at it differently. And I think that is just the reality of it, man. It's crazy as it may sound.
By the way, real quick, I just want to clean something up, Jay. He had requested a trade before all the allegations came out. However, it has been speculated that one of the reasons is there was stuff coming and he was getting out of town, right? Like that's
he knew prior to that something was coming down the pipeline.
I would say this though, as a teammate, like obviously you do your job, being on the field, winning games with you, working out. But as it relates to being seen out in public, like at different events or parties, me personally, I would probably take a pass at that, or I don't know how other people need to engage. People can do their thing, but probably you want to kind of see how things play out. That's me personally. I don't know. Other people may rock out. Everybody's different.
Everybody's is going to take a different approach to the situation. If I was in the locker room and I was a teammate of Deshaun's, I probably would still be a good teammate of his. And understanding maybe there's some issues there. And I'm the type of person, I'm going to talk to him with no problem at all and ask him, hey, man, tell me what, talk to me.
There's 24 of them. What's up?
Like, talk, let's go.
Yeah, let's
you
wrap
and I,
it up.
let's just go and let's get some wine and let's chop it up because that's just me. I don't have a problem. I really want to understand because everybody have different vices in their lives that are different. Some people like drugs. Some people like to drink. Some people like, doing things, boating, whatever it is.
But I think the difference here, obviously, is that if your vice involves another person and what you're doing is against their will, now that's not just like hurting yourself, right?
Agreed.
No question.
But so there's two different issues. One is if you have 66 different massage therapists, something's going, like, come on, man, no one does that. And the other is, but hold on, what happened? These women who are making these allegations are alleging you're making unwanted advances and you're persisting.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's
I want to ask him those sort of things.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody got different things in life that they go through and they do things. And because he wasn't criminally charged, I'm not necessarily giving him the benefit of the doubt at all. I want to know.
Yeah.
If you're going to play with me on my team, I want to know And you may never, ever tell me, you may never tell me. But at least I asked you, and my conscience is as clean as it can be. That's just how I operate.
Even if your conscience isn't clean, I mean, you're there for a job. You're doing your job. And a part of your job is what is the morale of the locker room? Like, that's a big thing. So are you going to be that one person that disrupts the morale of the locker room if he's hand chosen to be the leader of the locker room? So like that, even if you don't believe him or if you do believe him, you're there to do your job.
And even those who would take a moral stand and say, look, it's inconvenient. That's what the Cleveland Browns are betting on, right? People aren't going to take stands when it's inconvenient or can hurt their lives, their professions. So we'll be able to get past this. But as Key said, some people would say, no, that's not okay if there are criminal charges. But if they're not even bringing charges, that gives enough wiggle room, at least for people for their own conscience to say, who may otherwise object, wait a minute, let me talk to the guy, find out what's going on.
What would you do, Max?
If my livelihood depended on it, it's a good question. The problem for me is the number of allegations. It's not, as I always say, it's he said, she said, she said.
I hear you,
she
but
said,
would you not associate with him? Would you not talk to him? Like, you're around these guys, 24/7.
I might request a trade. I don't know.
See, me personally, I just want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I just want to have a conversation with you because I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of I want to trade. I want to I want to get away from this guy. I just
of course you have to have a conversation with him.
I gotta have a conversation with him. Period. That's just
it becomes
how
more
I
of
am.
a reflection on the organization more so than him.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.